Alright, so day 4 begins. It is 7:11 in the morning, and Montana is very cold. Very, very cold. I slept in a parking lot for a hotel last night because I didn't want to drive and look for a rest stop. I got down into the 30s last night. Had to break out the sleeping bag because I woke up shivering at like 3 in the morning. Yeah, very cold. Very, very cold. I probably look like a homeless person. I don't know how well you can see my little setup here, but I just turned the truck on to get the heat going. I'm gonna get up though and start moving for the day. Gotta get some breakfast. Hungry. Definitely hungry. And I gotta use the bathroom too, so exciting stuff.
entitlement and where we are. Another day we'll cycle through and turn away the present truth. I cut my knees from abundant sun. Was everything and all at once, and you were calling me. Well, I heard it in the morning breeze.
Alright, so we're about an hour and a half outside of Billings, Montana. I stopped, Bozeman was the first town that I stopped in way earlier this morning. It was absolutely beautiful. It reminded me of Loveland, Loveland, Ohio, where I'm from, but maybe bigger. Definitely maybe bigger, but it was just very cool. That's definitely a place I want to come back to and I want to visit. But yeah, I drove another 2.5 hours from Bozeman to Billings, and Billings was different. It definitely had that. It kind of had that big city vibe to it. I mean, it was a pretty big city as it was, so that makes sense. But it was kind of weird. It was a little surreal seeing like the mountains. Every time you looked up from all the fast food places and whatnot. But yeah, I got lunch in Billings. That was the first thing I've eaten since yesterday, 11 a.m. I was feeling a little hungry. Yeah, so we're on our way to Mount Rushmore now. I tried to stop at Little Bighorn. I wanted to view the battlefield, and it was going to be like one of those real quick, straight to the point kind of visits. I just wanted to see it really quickly and take a picture or two and whatnot, but it was like $30 to get in, and it was just annoying. I'm not going to pay $30 just to get into a park that I'm going to spend 10 minutes at. Like Yellowstone and the Tetons and whatnot. That was made a lot more sense, was a lot more reasonable. Yeah, I spent a day there, but I got to do a lot for $30. Don't know how I felt about Little Bighorn. So I did get to see it just from a distance, and I mean, it was cool, I guess. Montana's just beautiful. It's such a beautiful state. I've driven through so many mountains today. I think I've driven through like 3 or 4 mountain ranges since I left West Yellowstone. The landscape is it's just beautiful. I mean, you can't really see out the windshield. I don't know, maybe. I'm pretty much given up on trying to combat the bugs, and I'm just letting them die now. I'm not even going to try to clean them up until I get home, I don't think, unless it gets like ridiculously hard to see or something like that. It's such a pain to constantly keep cleaning the windows, and most of the time they don't actually, come out. So there's like these big like smears, if you will. But yeah, so Montana, it's been absolutely gorgeous. And like Bozeman, I think that if we do Yellowstone, my wife and I do Yellowstone next year, we'll try to stay somewhere in Bozeman, just because it was that cool of a town. There was just all these unique little local, kind of places to check out, and it had some of the more familiar, big names. There was a 24-hour CVS, a Chipotle, that kind of thing. It was very, very evenly balanced in terms of what it offered, and I thought it was really cool. I could totally see myself living there. But yeah, weather's improved quite a bit. I still got my waffle top on, but we're up to 69 degrees now. Got a lot lower in the night, if you recall. It was pretty low all day until just recently. Now that I've kind of moved out from Billings, the temperatures seem to have gone up. I think there was like a storm system or something off in the distance that was either moving in or it just moved through, and there was cold air associated with that front. So that makes sense to me. Now that I'm out here, I mean, it's pretty clear. It's still hazy from the smoke from the fires, but it's sunny and it's very beautiful. It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's gorgeous. So we've got exactly 4 hours, according to my GPS, to get to South Dakota, which should put us there about we'll round up. We'll say 5:45 in the evening. I'm hoping that it's another place that I don't want to spend a whole lot of time at. I just want to see Mount Rushmore, just so I can see it. I've always wanted to see it in person, so I think that'll be a good opportunity. I hope that the weather's good. I hope that it gives me a good opportunity to, get a picture or two, or just stand and marvel kind of at the how amazing it is. But yeah, after we do Mount Rushmore, it's going home time. So I don't know. I'm thinking like, I don't know. We're gonna see. I've been going to bed about 9-10 o'clock most nights, except for the one. Was it the second night I was here? I think was the night that I didn't get to go to sleep until like 2 in the morning or something, and that sucked. See, I'm talking about it and I'm yawning. But yeah, we're gonna see how much energy I have after we leave Mount Rushmore. I know we've got most of South Dakota to traverse, and then we've got I don't know if we're gonna pop right into Iowa or Minnesota or where it's really gonna take me. But we'll see. I'm not really that concerned about it, but in fact, if we get to go to Minnesota, that'll be cool. I want to see that. I've never seen Minnesota before. Actually, many times tend to forget that Minnesota is even a state. So I think that getting an opportunity to kind of see it in person might help me, remember it a little bit better with that visual, that inclusive visual. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what time. I'm thinking with gas and everything, it's probably gonna get to Rushmore about 6 o'clock. I'm hoping to spend about half an hour there at the most, and then hit the road again. And from there, we'll just play it by ear basically, and see how much energy I have, and if I'm gonna drive a little bit of ways through the night, or if I'm just gonna pull up somewhere, call it a night, and get up early in the morning and do the drive. I'm thinking that I want less drive time on the day that I am set to get home, because I know there's some things that I really want to do when I get home, especially look at the footage. So I want to make sure that I have enough energy when I do get home. So I'm thinking I'll probably drive a little bit later into the night, tonight than I usually do, just to get myself a little bit closer to home. But we'll see. Again, we'll see. It's all circumstantial. We just got to play it by ear and see how things go out here and how much progress I make on the road. I really wish, again, that I had more money, because if I had more money to blow, I wouldn't be coming home anytime soon. I would have kept going west. I would have gone out to Utah and California, and then up into Idaho and Washington and Oregon, and across to North Dakota, then down to South Dakota. Like I would have checked it all out. I really would have if I had the money to do it. So, but hey, I'm grateful for what I've been able to see thus far, and the 4,448.4 miles, according to my truck, that I've traveled so far since leaving Cincinnati have been they've been very enjoyable. They've been excellent, and I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling really good. This has been such a great trip. I'll never forget this as long as I live. I never will forget this. So once we get a little bit closer to South Dakota, I'll try to get some more footage in. Until then, I'll see you. Alright, crew, what up? It is day 5. It's about 3:30 in the morning. We're in Minnesota. You're probably like, well, what the heck? What happened to South Dakota? Let me tell you, it was a nightmare. I thought Tuesday night was bad. I kind of complained a little bit about having to, drive around for several hours, trying to find a place to sleep that night. No. South Dakota was far worse. So just to give you like a little, we'll just start from the top. So the drive through Montana was gorgeous. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. I loved every moment of it. Montana is a fantastic state. 10 out of 10 would go again. We left Montana. I don't remember what time it was exactly. I would say probably about 2:45, 3 o'clock-ish. We were still, pretty well on track to get to Rushmore at the time I wanted to. So the way that we went was we cut from Montana into Wyoming very briefly. Like we're talking like half an hour in Wyoming tops. So I'm on the interstate, in Wyoming, 80-mile-an-hour speed limit. Life's great, cruising along, flying by in the left lane when those big slow campers that aren't going by. So everything's cool until I get into South Dakota. I haven't even been like a mile deep into South Dakota yet, and I see this cop coming in the other lane, and a natural instinct cop coming in the other lane, you always slow down. It's like if you see a cop on the highway, even if you're not, going above the speed limit or anything like that, you always slow down. So I slowed down, didn't think much of it, just slowed down for the heck of it, I guess. I don't know. Didn't think much of it. Well, Mr. State Highway Patrol pulls up behind me, pulls me over. And so, he comes up to the door and he's like, you're speeding. And I said, I didn't realize. I said, how fast was I going? He said, you're doing about 84 in a 65. And I was really surprised, legitimately surprised, because I was under the impression that the speed limit was still 80 miles an hour because it was the same interstate road. So I told him that, and I apologized. I was like, you know what? I said, it's my fault. I probably was too engrossed just looking at the landscape, wasn't paying attention, didn't see the speed limit sign, just didn't realize it. That's all it was. I was just cruising along at, roughly 80, give or take a few, just like I had been for the past 6 hours. So he asked for my license and registration. I get it for him. I'm gonna own it. I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna get the ticket. It's no big deal. Shit happens. So this is where it gets weird. So before he takes my paperwork back, he goes, yeah, it's I mean, he knew I was from out of state, and he goes, it's in South Dakota we have the offender, if that's even the right terminology to use for me, the speeder. He's like, we have them come sit in the patrol car in the cruiser with us while we, go over the paperwork. And I was like, all right, cool. I've never been in a cop car, at least not that I can remember. I'm sure I saw one or something when I was a kid, I don't know. I've never been in a cop car, and even if I had ever been in one, just to like see the inside when I was younger, it was probably a Crown Vic. I'd never been inside one of the Chargers, so I was like, cool, yeah, it sounds fun. So I sit down in the cruiser, and I even said to him, I was like, first time I've ever been in a cop car before. I was like, it's pretty neat. I'm looking at all of his stuff, and we start to make some idle chat, and he kind of asked what's going on with me, and I was like, I'm on a road trip. I was like, I'm on my way out from I said I originated in Ohio. I was like, I did Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Wyoming again, and now South Dakota. I said I was on my way to Rushmore. And oh, that's cool. What do you do for your job? And I, give him the spiel. And like I said, it was very cordial. We make small talk. Everything's great. So he gives me my citation, and he was actually nice enough to bump it down a few miles an hour so that I wouldn't have to pay as much, which I was really grateful for, because I think he recognized that it was an honest mistake. I just wasn't, didn't see the speed limit sign. There wasn't running from anybody. There was no malicious intent, nothing like that. So up to this point, like, dude was being really cool, and I was like, man, I'm sorry I wasted your time today. I was like, I'll make sure I'm more vigilant in the future, and I'll keep a lookout for the speed limit signs, make sure that I'm, going the speed limit. And he's like, all right, cool. And then he stops and he goes, the one thing, that I am concerned about is when I came up to your truck, I smelled marijuana. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, what? How? Like, I was like, dude, like, I haven't bathed in 4 days. I've been living out of my truck. I was like, I probably smell. And I even apologized before all this happened, because I told him, I was like, yeah, I've been living out of my truck for the past 4 days. I haven't bathed other than like the baby wipes, and they're not even working anymore. It's starting to get ridiculous. I feel bad for like making his cruiser smell if that were the case. I can't really smell myself, but I know I've got to be pretty ripe at this point. But he's like, yeah, no, I smelled weed. I know you've been in a couple states, where weed's legal. And I'm like, I was like, I know Colorado is. Like, are there other ones? And he goes, yeah, there's a few. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, so, you can just tell me, did you stop, somewhere and smoke on your way? And I was like, no. I was like, the only like encounter I can even think of, I was driving through Denver like 3 days ago, and I was in some like college part of town. I think I even have it on film somewhere. Like, I even said it on film. I was like, oh, I smell, pot. So I said that to him, and I was like, that's about it. I was like, I don't smoke weed, so I have no idea why you smell weed. And so he starts really like diving into questions. Are you sure you haven't smoked weed? What about amphetamines? I'm like, amphetamines? I was like, I haven't even taken. The only drugs that I ever take are the ones that are prescribed to me by my doctor's office. So I was like totally dumbfounded by this. I'm freaking out. I'm like, what in God's name would smell like weed in my truck? Did I hit a skunk? Is there a dead skunk under my truck? I don't know. I don't know what it is. And so, yeah, he was like very suspicious of me, so suspicious, and I was just like really dumbfounded. You want to talk about being caught off guard? Be someone who doesn't smoke weed, and then has someone tell them, as a police officer, not someone, a police officer tell them that they smelled weed in your vehicle when you don't smoke weed. So you're like, oh, and I was nervous. I was like, what the heck is going on here? I was like, am I going to be like set up? Is this dude going to plant evidence on me? Like, what's going on? I was totally freaking out. And so he looks at me, or he's looking at my truck, and he goes, yeah. He goes, I don't like trucks with those toppers on them. That's where people usually keep their stuff. And by topper, he meant my bed cover on my truck, which ironically, the only reason that I even brought, like, I didn't take the bed cover off to save weight, as far as like my gas goes, the only reason I didn't take it off was because I was gonna try to film with the second GoPro with that mount I put on the back, which newsflash, I never did. So it was stupid of me to bring it anyways. But he's making it sound like I got pot, you know, in my truck bed. And so after, you know, kind of this back and forth, like bizarre conversation, I'm like, dude, you just want to look? And he's like, yeah, you don't mind, do you? Like, let me just look. I hate when this stuff gets by me. Like, this dude was already assuming that I was guilty, like that I was carrying weed with me. And I was like, no, I don't mind at all. I was like, come on, like, I'll open it up. So we get out of the cruiser and we walk up to the back of the truck, and I open the bed cover up, and surprise, there's absolutely nothing in my truck bed. There is like, you know, it's like 50 or 500 feet of paracord that I use, you know, to like tie some stuff down. There's a bungee, you know, that's hooked on some like D-link loops that I use to hold stuff down if I'm ever transporting anything. And there was like a slightly water damaged roll of paper towels. I don't even know why that was in there, where it had to have come from us moving. It's the only thing I can think is that it just got left in there. But he's like, oh, it's empty. And I'm like, yeah, because I don't have weed. And he sees my cargo panels on the side, and he's like, well, what are these things? And I'm like, oh, there's cargo panels. Like, all you do is you twist a knob and you pop it off. And so he takes the liberty of just popping the one on the right off, and he didn't even, I found out later, he didn't even put the damn thing in right, because I didn't even know it was in them. I haven't used them in forever. So I opened mine up, and there was some like general tools that I guess I'd put in some like I don't know, they almost look like pencil cases. They're like these little mesh pouches. I have 2 of them. I've just got some like random tools for the truck in case I ever need them, stowed away in there. And I showed him, I'm like, this is all I got. There's tools in here. And I think one of my bed blocks, or something, I don't even know what the heck it was in the right one. And I only found it out because after this whole encounter, I stopped to get gas, and I like went and looked in the bed, and like he didn't even put the thing back on right, which kind of annoyed me. But it was the most ridiculous traffic stop of my life. Like, yes, I was speeding, you know, it was an accident, but I was still doing it, and I'll own that 100%. I love the police, you know, 90% of the time. I have very good friends who are police officers. There was a point in time where I was like in the process of trying to become a police officer, not that long ago, which is a whole another story for a different day, on why that didn't pan out. But anyways, nothing like legal wise. Just I've had a test scheduled, and you have to take this NTN test, and I scheduled it for the wrong day, and I missed it. And the next available one was in like Cleveland, and I just couldn't bring myself. Like, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to be a cop so bad that I want to drive, you know, 5 hours, spend the night in Cleveland, and then get up at the, you know, the crack of dawn and take this test. So that was why I didn't become a cop, if you're curious. But anyways, yeah, just the whole, I love, you know, the police. Like I said, 90% of the time, police and I, we're cool, we're awesome. I back the blue. Like I said, I've got, you know, really good friends that are police officers. I respect them, I care about them, I love the work that they do. But this guy, the officer, patrolman, I can't even remember, his first name's Trey, just pissed me off. That really got under my skin, because when I got back in my truck and started to leave, I was shaken up. For one, my first thought was like, God, what happens if I get pulled over again? You know, does my truck really smell like weed? Is there going to be somebody, you know, God forbid I get pulled over again, am I going to have to go through this whole thing again and let the police officer search my car? Like, I honestly, I said to the cop at one point, I was like, dude, I'll take a drug test if you want me to. I was like, I'll pass it. I'm not even concerned about it. And I almost, you know, should have been like, bring out the canine, like call one of your canine boys and come check my truck out. I guarantee you will not find any weed in my truck. There is no weed. Never has been, never will be, unless I become like a smuggler for the cartel because other things in my life don't work out, which I doubt will happen. But yeah, so that totally threw me off. I was really shaken up by it. I was embarrassed. Of the whole process. I was just really embarrassed. Like, this guy was convinced that I had weed, and I have no idea why. I was polite, I was cordial, we had a very, good conversation. Was I nervous? Yeah, a little bit. I haven't been pulled over in years. I'm 1,500 miles away from home, and all of these different thoughts are going through my head like, okay, your tags. Are your tags expired? I hope your tags aren't expired. Where's your registration? I know it's in the glove box, but where? You got all this other paperwork shoved in there. Are you going to be able to find it? Just dumb stuff like that, It makes you a little nervous, like you're kind of like, you don't want to be like a pain or whatever. I mean, so I was nervous a little bit, and that's the only thing I could think of, other than the fact that, like, you could kind of tell I've been living out of my truck, and I probably smelled horrible. I'm sure I have to still smell horrible. Those are the only, like, tip-offs I can think that would suggest that there was anything, like, remotely weird about me during that stop. So it was so bizarre. The whole thing was just so bizarre. And so I left, and I drove like a quarter mile into the nearest town and filled up my gas tank and called my wife. I was like, what the heck? I can't believe this just happened. It delayed my trip by a good 40 minutes because, I had to go get in this dude's cruiser. Then we had to play the game of 20 questions. Are you smoke weed? Are you on amphetamines? And so I go into the town, I'm getting gas, and I'm just so, like, flustered and annoyed and embarrassed, like, just the whole thing. It was just such a crappy situation, and it sucked. And again, I was embarrassed. I was really, really embarrassed. Like, I actually wanted to shout at him, like, dude, no drugs here. I'm one of the good guys. Like, I'm on your side. I watch live PD. I root for you guys when you bust, people doing bad stuff. I'm not one of those people. I don't do bad stuff. Did I speed? Sure. I told you, I'll own it. I'll pay my fine. That's cool. No big deal. But I'm not like a bad dude. I don't do drugs. I don't do anything crazy. I barely even drink anymore as it is. Like, I barely drink alcohol as it is. So the whole thing was like, I don't know. It put me in a mood. I was frustrated. I was I was mad. I was so delayed in my trip at that point. I was trying to figure it out, like, am I going to make it to Rushmore, before the stupid sun sets? Am I even going to be able to see it? And you know what? I just got so, I was so angry and upset. I just said, screw it. I'm just going to go home. Because Rushmore was going to be my last stop, my last major stop, aside from driving through, a couple national forests on the way, maybe hopping out. I didn't expect myself to be gone for more than another, like, yesterday and then today. So I would get home day after tomorrow. That was my latest projection. And I was just, again, I was so flustered, so frustrated. It put me in such a bad mood. I was like, you know what? I think it's time to call it. So I ended up spending the next, 3 hours driving 15 miles an hour under the speed limit because I was terrified of getting pulled over again. I was, really just nervous and embarrassed. Like, am I going to have to go through this whole thing again where I have to, have a cop search my car? So after I kind of asked around, I posted on Reddit and I asked some friends. I was like, what do you guys think? And they're like, he's State Highway Patrol. You're driving a truck. You're young. He probably he was reaching as best as he could to see if he can make some kind of bust. If that's the case, I won't be mad. Like, if he didn't, I think my biggest thing is I don't want him to look at me and be like, yep, this dude's on drugs, I'm gonna bust him, because that's not me. That's not me at all. And I know that probably doesn't sound very good, but if it was, him just reaching, he was just trying to, do his due diligence and make sure that, I wasn't trafficking any drugs. Maybe I looked a little suspicious, because of my lack of hygiene over the last couple days or whatever. I don't know. But it just, again, regardless of what happened, it totally threw me off course. But again, after I talked to the friends, they reassured me. They're like, don't worry about it. Guy was just reaching. Doubt he smelled, any marijuana. He was probably just, saying that to see if you'd slip up and admit to something, so he could make a bust or something like that, which it's kind of crappy. But at the same time, I also get it. Like, you got to be proactive. You can't develop relationships with every single person you come across, especially when you've already, issued them a citation and they're not even remotely close to the state that you're an officer in. So yeah, so that threw me off, and basically, I don't think I would have even made it to a Rushmore after that in time to even see it. So I spent the majority of my evening driving the entire length of South Dakota, which was unnecessary at that point. The only reason I went to South Dakota was to see Rushmore, because I knew that I wasn't going to see much of the landscape because it was going to be dark, which it was. So I did that. I did South Dakota. Not too long ago, I passed into Minnesota. It was about, I don't know, probably 2:30, and I kept coming, rest stop 50 miles, and then the rest stop would come, next rest stop 44 miles. So I kept blowing off the rest stops, and I was like, nah, I'll just keep chugging. I want to get my time down to under 12 hours, so when I get up tomorrow, say if I get up at 6 in the morning, I'll get home roughly around 6, 7, 7:30 at the latest, depending on how many times I have to stop for gas, and if I get food and where I eat and what I eat and that kind of thing. So I finally ended up stopping with about, I think it was 11 and a half hours, 11 hours and 40 minutes, something like that, left to go. And I stopped in Minnesota, and I set up this awesome little fort in my truck. The nice thing, I like the rest stops. They're not terrible to sleep at, I've come to find out. The only thing that kind of sucks is the lights are super bright, in your face, keep you awake, make it hard to sleep. So I took my sleeping bag, I put the sleeping bag over the windshield, I took a couple of my shirts and I stuck them, I wedged them in the windows, and made all these curtains, and pretty much made a blackout interior for the Tacoma. And it was sweet. I hadn't done that any of the other nights, and I was like, wow, I'm gonna fall asleep, and I'm probably gonna sleep well because there's not a bunch of bright lights in my face constantly. So I lay there, for 10 minutes, not tired, can't sleep. Try to surf my phone, absolutely no signal. It teased me, actually. It was 4G, and I'm like, sweet, my phone does this. And I try to connect to the internet, and it's like, nah, fam, you can't do that. Then it drops to 3G. Then it's no service. So I was like, great. So I put the phone down. I was like, all right, dude, just lay down, relax, go to bed. And I know this probably sounds stupid, considering how many hours. The traffic stop, according to my citation, happened at 4:20, which, ironic. Can you say ironic? Dude suspects that I have weed, pulls me over at 4:20. So it's been several hours, obviously, almost 10 hours since this all happened, and I'm still kind of just annoyed. I can't stop thinking about it. I'm like, man, why'd you have to go and do that? Just totally, doink my last day of the trip. So that's keeping my brain running. Well, then this family, they pull up in this van, and they're 5 spaces down from me. It was pretty dead at the rest stop. They're 5 spaces down from me or whatever. And everything's cool. I'm laying there in my little truck cave, getting situated. I don't know what these people were doing, but they opened up the door, they had one of those sliding doors on their van, and they were playing some kind of dance music. I don't know what it was, but it was loud enough that I could hear it in my truck. And so I lifted one of my little sleeves up that was hanging over the window, and I kind of like peered out, and there was this guy I assumed to be the dad, and he's running back and forth between the bathrooms, and I don't know what the heck he's doing, and there's this tiny little kid like 5-6 years old just standing outside the van. There's some lady inside the van doing something, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, what are you people doing? So I'm like, this can't last. It'll blow over. 20 minutes goes by. Music's still playing. They keep opening and shutting the van door as loud as they can, as hard as they can, and it's making this really loud clunk noise. And like every time I'll have my eyes closed, I'll hear it, and I'll like open my eyes, like, oh yeah, it's just the van. So I finally, I got super annoyed, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even tired. I'm still frustrated. This whole day has basically, no, that's not true, because the morning and the afternoon were fantastic. Everything after 4 o'clock was garbage. But yeah, so I was like, you know what? Screw it. You're not tired. You're wired. You're annoyed. You're grumpy. You're angry. Just drive. So here I am. I probably left the rest stop like, I don't know, half an hour ago. Thought I would film to give an update on how crappy the rest of my day went. South Dakota, 0 out of 10. Don't want to come back ever again. That was just a crappy experience. It was crappy. So anyways, yeah, so we're in Minnesota right now. We're on Interstate 90. Passing Mankato and Blue Earth. They are the two next towns on the exits, and there's another rest area. Would not be surprised if our friends were there too, listening to their dance music. It was crappy, and it really bummed me out. I'm trying to be positive though, and like I'm trying to just ignore it. I'm gonna pay the stupid citation, and I'm just gonna try to put it behind me and forget about it. I guess I could also be like kind of snarky and pay it, and then like send some really nasty message about Officer Deputy Dipshit to the South Dakota State Highway Patrol's Facebook page or whatever, whatever social media these police use nowadays. I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, we're like, phone says I got 11 and a half hours left still, so maybe I had a little more time than I thought before. Either way, not a big deal. Again, I'm wide awake. It's about 4. It's going to be 4 in about 8 minutes. Whatever Central Time it is. I'm not on Eastern Time, home time. It's almost 5 a.m. at home, so I got one more time zone to pass through. But yeah, in conclusion, I guess, the later half of today really sucked. It really bummed me out. I really wanted it, I wanted this trip to go so flawlessly, and it didn't happen, but I guess that's part of the challenge in a way. Like, it's an unintended consequence of the challenge, if you will. The challenge that I took on, which was this trip, traveling through all these different states. I mean, I'm on day 5, and I did what? So let's count Ohio. So Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota, Minnesota. So 9 states. I've been in 9 states in 5 days. I've hiked 4 or 5 national parks. Got lots of good pictures. Got to see an elk. Got to see 2 elk. No bears or wolves, but remember, the elk was the number 1. They're my favorite animal, so we only really care about the elk here. I gotta learn to stop, holding on to these things and dwelling on them. I think that's the message of today, is to just not dwell on this crap anymore, and not let it bother me so much. That was one of the things that I was trying to get rid of on this trip, as it was to stop dwelling on all the crap that has happened to me in the past and just move on from it. And I feel like I successfully, very specific instances, things that I've struggled with for months, I feel like I've done a really good job, especially in the last few days, reflecting upon myself and learning to push those thoughts aside and remind myself that they don't matter anymore, that they're in the past. And I just need to do that with what happened today. I need to focus on the good, which were the last 4.5 days, and just forget about this little, crappy incident that happened today. It's been an amazing trip. Again, once in a lifetime kind of thing to do something like this. So I'm happy. And, if all of this hadn't happened, I probably wouldn't be getting home about when I'm going to get home. I'm going to get home at a really reasonable time. It's going to be like 3 in the afternoon. It's going to be a good time. I'm probably going to be exhausted by then, but whatever. So yeah, no major complaints. I just got to let go of the crap that happened today. Move on. Focus on what's coming, which I'm going to try to touch on that later tonight. I don't want this video to run on for like ever. I think I'm already 20-some minutes deep into it. So maybe in a little bit we'll kind of touch on what some of my plans are once I do get back home, and we'll go from there and just see what happens. So give me a little bit and I'll be back, I promise. All right, look a little familiar? I see some corn off in the distance. You got it, folks. We are in Illinois. Got through Iowa. It's about 9:30 Illinois time, so it's about 10:30 home time. Rained like crazy all the way through Iowa this morning. It was god-awful. Not light rain, heavy rain. There was congestion on the 2-lane interstate, so it was like, bleh, it stunk. Nothing new really. Need to stop for gas relatively soon. I'm almost down to a quarter tank, but I'm trying to push it as long as I can. I did have to stop a couple times and use the restroom. Had to clean some things up in the truck at one point, so we're delayed. Last I looked, it was like an ETA of like 5:40, but that was also when I was like sitting at a standstill at a rest stop. So we'll see once I kind of get working on the roads again a little bit more, get up to a normal speed and start cruising around. We'll see what that comes out to. I'm hoping it'll be more around 5 o'clock ish. That would be ideal. Get there right before rush hour really starts to pick up, and then relax. So plans. So I had a lot of time to think, over the last couple days. I realized a lot of things about school, college in particular. I've always known, I should have never jumped into the major that I chose right off the bat. It kind of screwed me over, and it made me hate college more than normal, and made me not want to finish, especially once I got a job that paid well and I excelled at. But I think that's the first order of business tomorrow. When I get up, my first goal is to get those transcripts sent over from NKU. The more I thought about it, the past couple days, the more I was like, you have to take a minimum of like 30 credit hours or something like that. With it all being online at the school I'm going to go to, I mean, realistically, I could knock that all out in a semester. It would be very difficult, but I could do it. So I've been thinking about that, but we'll cross that bridge hopefully in a few days. I know I need to have my official transcript mailed over to the school from Northern Kentucky. It should be about a 7-day turnaround time to figure out what I need, to graduate and get enrolled and all that stuff. Hoping that it's going to be quick and painless. I just really want to get this over with and get it done so I can have that in my back pocket from here on out. Other thing too, got a couple job prospects. I just need to do a better job at reaching out to some of them. I've kind of had half-assed attempts, the last couple months, just because I've been afraid. I'm really been afraid to commit to something, again, with as hard as this past year's been, and the way things went. My other job, which I no longer have, but I feel a lot more confident, and I feel like I can get this done, and I can do it, and I can push through it, and put myself out there. Yeah, I think that I can do it. I think that I'm finally ready. I feel like I can kind of tackle anything at this point. So tomorrow is going to be a big day. Big day to get a lot of things done. That's why I get home at 5 tonight. I haven't slept since yesterday morning, so I think I'm going to be able to fall asleep pretty quick this evening. And the earlier I go to bed, the earlier I can get up, the earlier I can get started on my day and start getting, cracking on some of these things that I've been putting off for too long, for all their various reasons. So yeah, I feel confident about it. I feel excited. I feel confident. I'm ready to just do it and get it done, and get it out of the way so I don't have to worry about it ever again. I'm ready. I'm ready this time. I'm ready finally. There's been a lot of other times where I've kind of started investing time into it, and then I never quite finished some of the steps that I needed to finish. I got distracted, by something else, but I don't have any distractions anymore. I don't have any excuses. There's nothing valid at this point in time. So it's just up to me to buckle down and start getting it taken care of. It'll be 25 this coming Sunday. I'm getting old. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who are going to laugh and say, well, 25 isn't old, but man, I'm halfway to 30, and 30's halfway to dead. Not really, but I am, starting to recognize, I'm not in my 20s, like my early 20s, my late teens anymore. Like, there's not that same amount of freedom, and I think that, part of this trip that was kind of symbolic, in that now I will have completely untethered myself from all of that freedom that I've had, since I was younger, and buckle down and start really taking adult life seriously, and making that my main focus. Yeah, I think the trip was good in that regard. I think that it was like my last hurrah. I got it out of my system, something I've talked about doing for years. And now that it's done and it's out of the way, I don't have any more excuses for being afraid of getting older. I've accomplished something that I've dreamt of accomplishing for years and years and years. So again, these, starting tomorrow, things are going to get really, really productive, and it's going to get busy for me. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see, what the future holds and where I go, and all that. It's going to be interesting, and I'm going to take it on, and I think I'm going to tackle it head on, and I'm going to kick its ass, and make it my own, be it school or a job or anything like that. Got a couple other things that I really want to do. I want to quit smoking. Just get done with that, get rid of it. Never have to worry about it again. I noticed I wasn't really that bad on this trip, which was a good sign. I'm afraid I will, end up being grumpy for a while once I quit cold turkey, but that's definitely something I want to get started on sooner rather than later. I think those are my big three. Get school squared away, get the job squared away, get, at least the controllable portion of my health squared away. Yeah, I think it's a good plan. I mean, it's pretty much the plan that I had before I left for the trip. These are the same things that I really needed to, take care of, with the job probably holding the highest level of importance on that list. But the difference was, it was like it's hard to explain, you know. Before the trip, it was another one of those situations where it was like, yeah, man, I'll get around to it. Now that this is out of the way, like, I've been thinking about it nonstop for the past, you know, couple of days, and I'm just like, when I get home, that is my priority. It's my focus. There's nothing to be anxious about. There's nothing to be, you know, scared of. It's commit time, man. It's go time. There's no turning back now. So, I'm excited again. I'm excited. I really do hope that I keep true to these statements, these promises, if you will, and that I see them through to their fullest potential starting tomorrow. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I got a bunch of other, you know, random ideas kind of popping around my head, but I don't really have anything concrete enough or organized enough in my brain to kind of put down on, you know, paper. Well, not paper, but talk about it out loud. It's just too many jumbled thoughts. But I think those are my big focus right now. Those are my main ones that I want to focus on and just take them out, kill them. Starting tomorrow, it's go time, baby. We're gonna knock them out. We're gonna kill them dead. Feels good. I feel in control of my life again, and I think that's what's most important. I feel in control. I feel strong. I feel ready to take on just about anything, even with the mishaps, even with, you know, the false accusations of weed being present in my vehicle yesterday. I'm ready to take this on. So I'm excited. So yeah, that's all I got. Like I said, we're in Illinois right now. Can't wait to get out of Illinois. Can't wait to get out of Indiana. Because, hey, then we'll be in Ohio, and that pretty much means we're home. So yeah, we got about 7 hours. Probably about 3 hours in each state, I would guess. And we're down to about a quarter tank of gas. So next exit I see with gas, we're going to go hit that one up, top off the tank, and hopefully that'll get us all the way to Ohio at least before we need to worry about putting more fuel in. So until next time, I'll see ya. Alright, we're just about in the home stretch here. GPS says we've got about 2 hours left. I think we're just outside Indianapolis right now. The airport is off over in the distance. You can see the planes coming and going. Super excited to get home. I'm really looking forward to get home, see my family, see my dogs. It's crazy because I know it's only been a few days. What is it, day 5 or something like that, or day 6? I can't quite recall, but it feels like way longer. Like I was coming the opposite way like a month ago or something like that. It feels like I've been gone a lot longer than I have been. So it's gonna be really good to come home. I'm excited to see everybody tonight, especially my wife and my dogs. I can't wait to see them. It's gonna be fun, reunited. But yeah, we're almost to Ohio, where it all began. It's insane. We've done this. We've come full circle. There were some ups. There's a lot of ups. There's a few downs, but overall, wonderful trip. Just God, what an amazing experience. I'm happy. I'm happy. You're happy. I'm happy. Yeah, I can't believe we've done it. I'm gonna have to film, pulling up into the driveway so we can, finalize it, complete it, really come full circle, if you will. But and this is it, ladies and gents. Unless my car blows up in the next, 100 miles, the loop out west, that's in the books. That happened, and it's done. So yeah, happy, man, happy. So we'll get some more footage, the last of it, right when we get into Ohio. All right, so I just want to take a minute to point out that Indiana, as a state, gets an F. Their construction, holy God, it's so bad. I probably would have been home like an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, if they hadn't had, literally miles upon miles. Like, I'm not talking like 5 miles or 10 miles, but like literally 50, 60, 70 miles worth of road torn up down to one lane, it's a highway. Confusing speed limits. It'll say speed limit 55, speed limit 45, and it has like, really tiny underneath it. It says when flashing, so you never really know which speed you're supposed to go, because it might say 55 and then 45 when flashing, and then you get another 300 feet, and then there's a sign that says 45, but there's nothing about flashing. So you keep going up and down. God, terrible. I'm actually frustrated that I'm in this state. I never have really been to Indiana before. Like, I've been, to a little bit of it. This is the first time, aside from the outwards trip, which I feel like was not nearly as bad. I know there was a lot of construction, but I don't think it was anything like what I just drove back through. I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying the speed limits and the construction alone literally added an hour and a half, if not 2 hours, onto my drive. I would have been home around 1 o'clock today, probably, had it not been for that. I've spent more time in Indiana than well, I can't say that about Iowa, but Illinois, absolutely. I spend more time in Indiana just because of the construction. So yeah, I feel like I'm still not anywhere closer to home. It says we got 47 minutes. I still have another 15 miles in Indiana. Thank God the construction is gone. Now we're just driving. Who knows how long this will last, because this is what it's like. You'll have like 20 miles of construction, and then all of a sudden it's normal, and then you go up a hill and go down a hill, and then all of a sudden there's another 30 miles of construction. So it's like a mixed bag, So yeah, screw Indiana. Hate this state. You get an F. You're just as bad as South Dakota. South Dakota, you suck too, just because you're state highway patrol. Yeah, we're almost to Ohio. We're almost there. That's the good news. But yeah, oh God, this is like, it's actually irritating me how bad the construction is. Like, it just seems very, very, very poorly mismanaged. I mean, who has an expressway or an interstate, that's normally 70 miles an hour, 65, 70 miles an hour, cuts it down to one lane on either side, and then just puts freaking Jersey barriers up the middle, constant changing, the speed limit. It's freaking annoying. I'm perturbed a little bit. I'm ready to be in Ohio. Indiana, you suck. Ah! We're back. 10 states, baby. Welcome to Ohio. What's funny is, like, a little bit after I got done filming in Indiana, my rant, I saw State Highway Patrol, Indiana State Highway Patrol, seriously considered pulling up to him and be like, "Hey man, can you tell me if my truck smells like weed?" Some guy in South Dakota said it did. I'm not feeling it though. No, that'd be bad. Don't do that. That would probably not end well for me. Yes, we're back in Ohio. We're back where it all started. We're back in the first state. That means 10 states down if you include Ohio. So that's Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota, Minnesota. All of those states have been covered, front to back. I think that's got to be 10 states. I don't know. I'm not counting. I hope that's my math's right. Otherwise, it's gonna be really embarrassing down the road. But yeah, that's awesome. Oh my God. I mean, we did it. We did a loop. We saw the West. It was beautiful. We're back home. I'm excited to be back home. We got to stay on I-74 on the left. We're going to be home in 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Get pumped. 40 minutes and this trip has officially concluded. And I will finally be able to shower, which I have not done since last Tuesday. I feel absolutely disgusting. Perhaps, I don't know. I'm going to shower. I'm going to eat something. I haven't eaten anything since yesterday morning. I'm going to hug my family. I'm going to, do some stuff. We got plans, remember? We got plans for tomorrow. So we got a lot of stuff to start. So yeah, we did it. We did it. Drama unfolding. We might be witnessing a police chase. I don't know what's going on, but the police are following this car. They have been for some time. Oh, are they pulling off? Let me get up there. Dang, they're still going after it. Well, they're going off the exit now. Hamiltucky never fails to disappoint. What the hell is going on? What? What? You just saw that, didn't you? What the hell? That was weird. That was really weird. Huh. Now, just past Mosteller. Pure exhaustion has just set in. I think my body just finally realized it hasn't slept since yesterday morning, and it knows it's close to home, and it's like, give me food, give me sleep, give me a shower. That's more me than the body. The body can go without the shower, but I can't. If you catch my drift. Right outside Mason Sharonville, we're stuck in some lovely old traffic. You know, anything that could keep me from getting home sooner. Yeah. I'm just tired now. Jeez, I am wiped. I need to get something to eat. I need a shower, and then I need to get something to eat. You know what I'm saying? I need to get something to eat. And next time, if we do this, I don't know about the whole not showering thing for like 5 days. Like, it stinks. Everything smells. It's a mess. Look at the mess. Look at the mess. There's a mess everywhere. Check out that odometer though. Woo! 5,910.8 miles have been covered during this journey. Absolute madness. Madness. We are at a total of 28,837 miles. It's kind of sad because I'm already, well, if you were to go by, you know, Valvoline's mile oil change date, then you'd be like, yep, you got about less than 1,000 miles before you need another oil change. I just had an oil change 2 days ago, but we'll give it another 2,000, 3,000 miles on top of this, and it'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. You know what I am worried about though is ever getting home in this traffic, because it's just backed up for days. I can see. Can you see? See over there? It's only, I don't even know what time it is. It's not even 5 yet, people. Come on. Don't you got things to do? Things to do besides go home? Go to work. Part of me is like, yo, you should stop and just snag something to eat real quick, you know? But the other part of me is like, no, just go home and then, you know, eat. If you find something, eat it, or, you know, or just, I don't know, order something. You know what the weirdest part about being home is? Like, you can see the clouds up there and stuff, but everything else is flat, you know? So I keep expecting every time, you know, if I check the odometer, if I'm looking at something on the console, every time I look up, I expect to see mountains off in the distance. And it's very weird all of a sudden, you know, seeing that for several days straight and then not seeing it at all. That's gonna take some getting used to again. It's like every time I look up, I'm like, there should be a mountain right there, and there's not a mountain. I'm sad. I want mountains. I like mountains. It looks like we're picking up, but you know what? We're gonna pick up here at the top, and as soon as we come around the bend, past this exit, it's gonna go get slow again. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Let's see if I'm right. If I'm not right, happy day. You know, happy day. I don't know, we're moving. I'm going 60 miles an hour right now. I got some clearance in front of me. You see that? That's what you call clearance. Two shitty trucks. Mine's cooler. Got the dork in the Dodge with the goatee looking at me. Can't tell if this is a chick or a dude in this one up here, so that should say plenty. Bumper says cash. If it's Johnny Cash, it's cool. If it's anything else, then just get out of here. Go home with your truck that's not as cool as mine. Wow, no, so far I'm wrong. We're moving. We're moving. Now I guess the next big concern is the Ward's Corner. That dip in the hill there between Lovell Madeira and Ward's Corner, is that going to be congested? I sure hope not. If you remember, we did have a little congestion the day we left, the morning we left, but it wasn't too bad. God, it's crazy. That it literally feels like that happened months ago. Like it just, everything that I've experienced in the last couple days feels like it's been over a much longer period than it actually has been, and that's fantastic. That's awesome. I love that. Stay Route 28, 9 miles, 12 minutes. Okay, so we're good so far. So Stay Route 28, that's going to be past, that's going to be the exit past my exit, Ward's Corner. So I would say about 8 minutes. 8 minutes, hopefully, we'll be there. As long as, I don't know, the sky doesn't fall or something bad. Okay, let's hold off till we get there, because I don't know how much footage this has. In the words of Ian Malcolm, boy, do I hate being right all the time. Oh, I ended up going the back way instead of going to the Ward's Corner exit, just because it was going to be quicker, I think, for me. But here we go. We'll start with Loveland, Ohio. From Loveland, Colorado to Loveland, Ohio. We're stuck at a red light, and I'm pretty sure the person behind me is watching me talk to myself. She's fine. Totally fine. She's making faces at me. I'm trying to ignore it. I'm trying to ignore it the best I can. Nope, still looking. I can't wait to feel clean. Oh, there's a police officer next to me. Gonna pilot Mainville Police. Mainville Police officer lives down here in Loveland. Either that or he's going up to Mainville. Don't know which. I can't not get over how hot it is today. Down here. I mean, you got to remember, we came from out west where, like, mid 70s was pretty warm for the day. 60 was about average. 50 was more average in Yellowstone, but it's friggin' 92 degrees here. I'm burning up. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt and I'm burning up. So many places I could get food. It's so tempting, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I can't wait to get out of these clothes, put something nice and clean on, go to sleep. Feels good to be home. Certainly does feel good to be home. Speaking of home, I doubt you can see it because it looks so grown up now, but well, we'll wait a second. You got grandstands down there. You want to play some sand volleyball? You could do that. If you want to do that in Loveland, Ohio, not Loveland, Colorado, you can do that. What I was gonna say is, speaking of homes, Kelsey and I's, our old apartment is up on the hill here somewhere. Oh, damn you, yellow light. Damn you, yellow light. Damn you, yellow light. Oh, and it's red. Fortunately, the red light was yellow light, whatever you want to call it, red light was short-lived, so we're back on the move. Yeah, up the hill here. This is yeah, you're not gonna be able to see it at all because the trees they've gotten so thick. Oh my gosh. We moved out in May, I think, and the foliage hadn't come up quite like this yet. And here we go. Let's see if you can see it. Oh, there's a little bit. Here's the new ones coming in. Building across the street. Pretty nifty. Yep. That's where we lived. Bring our way. We're going down into. This is considered the new side of Loveland. Well, to be honest with you, ever since they redid all of Loveland, they modernized it a little bit. There really is no new old Loveland, or there's no new Loveland and there's no old Loveland is what I'm trying to say. But there's the skate rink, Castle Skate Land. It's a castle, big old castle. Your Mickey D's, chicken places, pizza, lots of pizza. Speed limit 20, I'm going 30. Watch me get pulled over. That would be hilarious. Like, I would honestly probably laugh. I would laugh when the cop pulled me over. First, I would laugh, and then I would say, "Do you think my car smells like weed?" To see what kind of response I would get. There's some of the little strip areas. See, Loveland, Colorado is way nicer. It's way more modern. But this is kind of like the commercial district, if you will. Like, there's all kinds of little businesses, fitness places, fast food places. There's a couple bars and mechanic shops over here. United Dairy Farmers. There's a Goodwill back there. That's an awesome Goodwill. Spent many good days there. Zap Sports Bar and Grill. Some guy drove through that a couple months back. They finally fixed it. I think they fixed it pretty quick. I shouldn't say they finally fixed it. They did a really good job. I'd show you, but you can't really tell. It's kind of one of those things you have to be there to know. For some reason, I don't remember that BP being there. Is that new? I don't know. Here's our post office. Post office. That BP has to be new. God, I was just down here like last week. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. Who knows what I do sometimes. Gosh, there's like all kinds of paved stuff going on, and I'm gonna go. But here we come up on more of the traditional Loveland. You've got your medical practices. My doctor's right up here. There's the Healing Touch Wellness and Chiropractic Center. Never been there, but it's kind of cool, I guess. My doctor's office right back in there. That's where my cousin works. She's not a doctor, but that is where my doctor is. And here's the Memorial Park and the bridge. See our river down there, and then you can see, I'm not going to show you much of it, but this is Main Street. This is what old Loveland used to be. It's happening down here, man. It's downright happening. This is where all your cool stuff is. Montgomery Cyclery, Bond Furniture. I've never actually seen anybody go in there. There's Cindy's Friendly Tavern. Pro tip, don't ever go there. Gross. Here's the bridge I just showed you not that long ago, and there's the canoe and kayak shop. If I don't wreck my truck first. Canoe and kayak people are awesome. It's a great river to go kayaking and canoeing down. You take my word for it. Here's the bike trail. We're gonna let this gentleman go. You can see the bike trail. It follows the old, well, it actually doesn't follow just the old railroad tracks. It follows the ones that are currently in use, because we are a railroad town, kind of like some of the Colorado towns. So we do get trains that come through. We just don't do any unloading here. I guess I'll spare you up the hill, but I'll film once we get into the neighborhood just for nostalgic purposes. I figured, what the hell, might as well film some more. We only got about 10 minutes to get to the house. We were just driving through beautiful Loveland. I have no idea how this footage is going to look. Did I mention that it is very hot? Temperature has already gone up to 93 degrees from 92 on the highway, or wherever I was. Loveland, I don't remember. Yeah. I don't know, a good way to film this. You'd think after like a couple days of doing this consistently, I'd come up with a plan, but oh my God. Wow. No comment. Not gonna comment. Not gonna comment. Not gonna say anything. Damn. Alright, so that didn't go terrible. I thought it was going to be a lot worse. Church. That is the church. The church. And next to it, watch the dwarf, is the school. That is where I went to grade school. Ladies and gents, 8 years of pure hell. Well, not good. Not a good time. Feels like it's windy everywhere. It's windy out west, it's windy here. The difference is it's hot here. It's like crazy hot. And my buddy Andrew lives down that way, White Pillars. There's a big field nobody does anything with. Not like what you see out west. You'd have, you know, cattle and antelope and all kinds of things grazing from what I've seen. Yeah. Miami Township. Welcome to Miami Township. It smells like freshly cut lawn. Did not smell the same way out west. I did not smell freshly cut lawn. That is for sure. So yeah. We're going to come up here. This is going to be the hill and the turn that we came down when we first left. So we're coming from a different way, but that's alright because we're still coming full circle, full term, seeing it to completion. I got some sketchy people trying to pull out on me here, but that's all good. They're not going to fight my truck. My truck that's seen 5,924 miles. They ain't gonna mess with Taco. They ain't gonna mess. Taco knows what's up. He's seen stuff, or she. I don't know. Do you sign like your car gender? I don't know if you do that. I guess my wife did. She called her car Harold. Here we go, baby. Here we go, baby. We're back. Yeah, baby. Yeah, we're back. Several days on the road, and we're back. Try not to look like ridiculous filming in front of the people that I live by, but you know what I noticed right off the bat is the green colors. They like pop out big time. I'm so used to seeing everything in like browns and, you know, hues of yellow, and everything is just so luscious and green here. Wow, God, I've only been gone for a few days. It feels like everything's just blown up and gotten huge. This just makes it feel like I've been gone for long. I think this is my sister. I think this is who we're coming up on. Is it her? No. Awkward, not her. Just some random lady I thought was her. Weird. She probably thinks I'm crazy. Stopping at the club side, stop sign. House is down this way, we're clear. We're turning, we're coming down the road. Wow, yeah, it's like everything's so green. I'm not used to this greenness. So it looks like I beat Kels home. I think we were in the same kind of traffic mess. She was coming home from school, but looks like I one-upped her, sniped her. Yeah. So here we are, back where it all started. So, thanks for sticking around for the ride and listening to me ramble and just talk nonsense, basically. It's been a fantastic trip. I'm so grateful. I feel so blessed that I had this opportunity, to go do this, and I'm looking forward to seeing what is available to me in the future. Taking everything, taking it all on. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Best of luck.